Hey everybody, it's Dr. Josh here and welcome to day 4. We are back in the kitchen. You're in the anti-inflammatory reboot series here. You're on day 4. It's a 21-day program, so let's do the math. That means you've got about 17 more days to go if my math is correct. That means you're well into the program. I hope that you are feeling good. We're on day 4 now and we're going to talk about meat and poultry and dairy and eggs. More broadly, we're going to talk about animal protein today and where it fits in and where it doesn't fit in to an anti-inflammatory eating plan. First, some general discussion. For those of you who have been following me for any time, you know that I am not a huge fan of excessive meat, dairy, poultry, and egg consumption. It's quite clear from the medical literature that most Americans who struggle with the chronic diseases du jour eat too many of those kinds of things, right? Too much meat, too much poultry, too much dairy, and too many eggs. Now, it's not that those things are necessarily bad in smaller amounts, and it's not that they cannot be included into a healthy diet. They certainly can. And this video today is going to discuss where meat, poultry, dairy, eggs sort of fit in, right? And why really the conventional factory farmed beef, poultry, and eggs are such a problem. So let's talk about that for a minute. If you set a cow loose in a cornfield, it wouldn't really even know what to do because cows are not supposed to eat corn. They wouldn't really even know, quite honestly, what to do. The natural diet of a ruminant animal like a cow is basically grass. Or whatever other kind of low-lying plants they might find, clover, and that sort of thing that you'd find in a meadow or in a pasture, right? And a chicken, well, a chicken eats insects. A lot of people keep chickens for exactly that reason. Around here in Connecticut, people keep chickens in their yards to keep the tick populations down. Chickens eat insects, they eat bugs, they eat worms, they eat little seeds and little berries that they can find on plants around. Again, chickens do not eat corn from a cornfield, but your conventionally raised meat, the conventionally raised cows and pigs and chickens and turkeys are largely fed diets that are almost exclusively corn. And when you feed animals exclusively corn, it's a starchy and carbohydrate dense food source, they get fat, right? They get unhealthy. By the way, humans do too. So if you are eating the meat from animals that are unhealthy because they are obese or they have blood sugar regulation problems or they have infections and these sorts of things and they have inflammatory problems, which they all do, that is going to confer inflammation to you as well. So we want to stay away from the meat and the byproducts of those animals. That applies to meat, it applies to dairy, anything that's made from milk, milk, cheese, yogurt, butter, and then also to meat from birds, chickens and turkeys primarily, and then their byproducts, which is primarily eggs, usually from a chicken in this country. So during phase 1, you are allowed to eat protein from 4-legged animals and birds. That means meat, poultry, eggs, and dairy are on the list, but those foods need to come from healthy animals, and this is what that means. For beef, that refers to grass-fed or pasture-raised animals. In many places, you have health food stores in your town or big sort of natural markets. You can find grass-fed or pasture-raised meat there. And similarly, with respect to dairy, you want the dairy to come from organically raised, pasture-raised, or grass-fed cows. When we're talking about birds, which is primarily chickens and turkeys, you also want that meat and those eggs to come from birds that are free-ranging and also organically fed, right? So we want to make sure that the diet of the animals that we're eating, if we're going to eat their meat or if we're going to eat their dairy products or their eggs, are coming from healthy sources. So that's the lesson for today. Now, broadly speaking, when we go back to our conversation about meat, people ask me all the time, how much meat should I be eating? And it's a difficult question to answer because everybody has a different starting point. And although meat and dairy and eggs and poultry are allowed during phase 1, be prepared, we are going to minimize that as we move through the program. So the answer to the question, how much meat should I be eating? The answer is less than you do now. So during phase 1, go ahead and enjoy the animal protein. Make sure it comes from healthy sources. Get out there into your health food store, your natural food market, or better yet, your farmer's market, and find the meat, dairy, eggs, and poultry from locally sourced organic sources that are pasture raised or grass fed. So that's the lesson for today. That's day 4. You're moving right along, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for day 5. Take good care.